Okay. Hey, Zach. Good morning. Good afternoon. You know what I mean. You're here. Congratulations. I'm here. I'm managing. We got Sosa, Jack, Emma, Zach, Eleanor, Soleil, Cecilia, Angela, Alexis, Mari, Chloe, Xander, Blake, Jaden, Eric, Gabby, Carter, Max, and Justin. Okay, great. So yesterday we started the Creature Cup project, and so today I'm going to talk about the next steps that you're going to be trying to get through today in class. You might not get through all these steps that I show you, but some of you will, especially since your third hour. My first hour just has nowhere near the amount of time that you guys do. So you probably will get through all this stuff. But my point is, if you don't get through all this stuff, it's still okay. Just snap a photo of whatever you accomplish. So step number 1 for today is to refine, refine, refine. What I saw a lot of yesterday, and granted, I was spending a lot more time with people who were on the wheel yesterday, but when I came over here and looked at the people who were slabbing, it seemed like because the clay was so soft and so plastic, it wasn't like the cups weren't all circular, and some of them were a little bit uneven at the top, and that's kind of normal. That's pretty normal for that first day. So today is about refining that, fixing that, and I'll show you how to do that in the demo. Next step for today is adding a foot. Yes, you will need a foot on this piece. However, most of you are not going to add the kind of foot that you have in your brain as being a foot. Like most of us are not going to do a foot ring, or at least a traditional foot ring, except the people on the wheel. They will be trimming a traditional foot ring on their wheel thrown piece, and I'll have a quick refresher demo for that for those people who are on the wheel. For those of you who are not on the wheel, I'm going to talk about how to do a parfait foot, which is a foot that flares out a little bit, which is going to be important because a lot of us have done cups that are narrower at the bottom and wider at the top. And if you put a little foot ring on that narrow bottomed pot, you're just going to make it more tippy. And the point of a foot is to make it more stable. So a parfait foot flares out a little bit like a parfait glass, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Another option for your foot is to do pad feet, because this project is a creature cup. Maybe you want to make the kind of feet that would actually be on the creature that's going in the cup. That would look kind of cute. So we'll talk about ways to do that in a really secure way. If you are doing a wide-bottomed cup, you can add a coil to the bottom and then carve it in so your pot comes in a little bit and gives it that lift that we want so your pot doesn't seem really stocky and heavy. And if you are a wheeler, you will be trimming a traditional wheel thrown or wheel trimmed ring foot. And again, I'll talk about that just for wheelers. Third step for today, if you get this far, is to create your creature. So you're going to be actually sculpting your little creature, which should be kind of similar to what some of you did anyway for your flange, or not your flange, your finial for your raku piece. So you sculpt a little creature. The thing you have to consider with this creature is it's going to be sitting at the bottom of a cup. And so it kind of needs to be looking up. Like that's part of the charm of this piece. Like when you're done drinking your coffee, you look down in there and there's a little frog staring up at you, or there's a little lizard or whatever is inside there. So you do need to sculpt your creature so that it's looking up, but we're not going to attach the creature in, at least not right away. The creature will be attached in when we glaze it. So you're going to be creating your sculpture separately, your cup separately, firing them separately, and then when you glaze, if you choose to glaze, you'll glaze your little creature so you have full access to be able to glaze it. You'll glaze your cup. And then right before it goes in the kiln, you're going to put your little creature inside the cup, and they're going to fuse together. They're going to glaze themselves together like super glue. Yeah.
What happens then if you try and glaze it?
So that's a good point. You are going to have to either today or tomorrow have your sculpted creature placed inside your cup so that I can see that it fits. Because you absolutely have to plan for it fitting. And I'll talk about in class, how to sculpt it to be kind of confident that it will fit. I'll talk about how to measure that. Good question. If you're doing something really delicate like that spider, there's really not going to be any way for you to sculpt that separate. So if anything has really delicate bits, you may have to actually attach it inside your cup, in which case you'll do all your refining first and then just score and slip your creature inside the cup. There's no problem with that. It just makes it harder to glaze it. There's a kid in my first hour that wanted to do starfish. So she's slipping and scoring starfish all over the inside of the walls of her cup. She couldn't do that by making it separate. Like they would just slip and slide down the cup if we tried to glaze them together. So she is having to score and slip those starfish inside there. And so you may have to do that. It really is case dependent, depending on whatever creature you want to do and where you want it to be. Any questions on that creature thing? Because I'm not going to talk a lot about creatures in my demo because everybody's doing something so different. Okay, so I am going to put these steps for today up on the screen. I'm going to freeze them up there, and then I'm going to have you guys come over to table 6, please. And Eric, would you turn on the lights for us, please? All right, I have to keep recording. Out of there. So what I have to figure out is how do I see myself? Does that help? That does not help. Oh, technology. Oh, there we go. Pinned. Camera. There we go. Awesome. People at home, you can see me now, right? I'm just gonna.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, good. It's nice to actually hear somebody's voice. Okay, get over here. Come on, people over at 1, 2, and 3, get over here. I love how I have to like shame you every day to come closer. All right. So, do you want to be in the shot? Okay, put your mask up.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
Like, yeah, thank you. You too, Xander. All right, so this is my cup from yesterday, and it's pretty rough. You know, like you look inside there, and it's not smoothed very well. There's still little lines from the plastic template that I used. So I definitely have a lot of refining that I need to do. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put the wider side of your cup down. So for me, that means it's upside down. And I got to do some scraping. So I've got a steel scraper, a little flexible scraper. People at home, you have a plastic card. And you're just going to spend a lot of time doing this. Put a bend in it so it fits the curve of your cup. And just do as much scraping and shaping as you can until your walls get leveled out. So you're taking down the high spots, filling in the low spots. If there's a really low spot, you can slip and score and fill that in with a little bit of additional clay. And then check it every now and again. Check it from eye level like this, because you might find that one side is more straight up and down and one side is more angled. So then you got to fix that. I want you to make this form be as symmetrical as you can. And actually, that's not terrible. Like the lip is higher on one side, and I'll fix that next. But the form of it, not super terrible. The lip inside here, though, is pretty bad. So I'm going to also use this same scraper tool on the inside to take out the spots of the lip that were kind of thick. And if there's areas that are really thin, that I can fill in with additional clay. So that actually helped a lot. And notice how I'm keeping my outer hand supporting the outside wall, so I'm not vastly distorting my outside wall. To take down that high spot in my lip, you can also scrape that down. Probably better to scrape it off than to try and shave it off, because if you shave it off, you could take a deep gouge into the clay, and then that's hard to come back from. But if you just scrape it little bits at a time, you'll be able to level it much more subtly, so you can really control it better. Also, if you're here in person, remember I have those cheese grater tools, and you can use that to level your lip as well. Then you definitely need to do some smoothing. So do the little Pac-Man trick, right? So you got a U-shaped sponge, smooth the outer edge, top edge, and inner edge simultaneously by making Pac-Man bite the lip of your pot and just kind of scrub back and forth. And you'll make your own slip, and it'll kind of just smooth things out pretty darn well. Then finally, I'm going to take a paintbrush, dip it in some water, and I'm going to smooth down in places that my fingers and the sponge really can't get to. If you're here in person, over here, I have some sponges on a stick. So you can take one of these. There's big ones, there's small ones. Just get that kind of wet and smooth that around inside there. Just really take some time to make that inside look good. And the lip needs to really look good. I'm going to be very picky about lips. All right, so now this clay is pretty plastic again because I've rehydrated it so much. So I'm just going to let it chill over there for a sec. And I'm going to talk about feet. So different ways to add feet. The first way that I showed you was a parfait foot. And I chose to show you some techniques for feet that are tending towards small bases on your cups, because a lot of you chose to do that. A lot of you made your cup smaller on the top, bottom, wider at the top. So these are feet that are good for that style of cup. So to do the parfait style foot, I'm going to start by rolling a coil of clay, and I'm going to make that coil of clay be slightly wider than the base of my cup. So I just rolled that coil. I'm kind of melding together the seam. So it's kind of like doing a ring foot, but there's going to be a big difference coming up. So I'm going to score and slip this fat ring on the base of my cup. Scoring and slipping simultaneously. Same thing on here. I want to score and slip simultaneously on the base of my cup. And then I'm going to score and slip this thing on, and it's going to look pretty terrible, okay? Like everything starts by looking terrible, but then it gets better. We refine it and it looks better. So I'm going to use my either popsicle stick if I'm at home or wood knife if I'm here to meld that big coil on the base of my pot. Meld the inside so it's smooth. Meld the outside so it's smooth. Sorry, people at home, you can't see me melding, but I'm melding. And so once this is all slipped and scored and melded, I purposely made it kind of big because now I'm going to pinch it. I'm going to pinch it and make it flare out and form that parfait style foot that flares out at the bottom. And this is going to be helpful for a narrow bottomed cup because it's going to make it way more stable. So I'm just gently, slowly pinching that clay outward. So now when I flip it over, it's got a wider base to it. And now, like, that looks okay. Not very well refined, though. So then I'm going to take my scraper again, and I'm going to scrape a little swoop up from that part that I pinched out up to that narrow base of my cup. So it's going to integrate a lot better. So just scraping and turning and scraping and turning. That looks a lot better, right? So that's what the bottom looks like. That's going to take some evening out. It's not the same thickness. It needs to be smooth, but you get the idea, right? Coil, pinched out, scrape, and refine. Okay, so that's one of the feet. Kind of sad taking it off, actually. I really liked how that looked. All right, next foot was the pad foot or the paw foot. Pad foot, that's like Harry Potter. Where are my Harry Potter nerds at? All right, so I'm going to make 3 or 4, it's kind of up to you, little pebbles. And you can keep these just as pebbles if you want. Usually I hate pebbles as feet, but this is going to be an acceptable use of pebbles this time around. And I forgot to grab a ribbon tool. Alexis, can you grab me a ribbon tool, preferably one of the bigger ones, please? So if I'm going to do paw feet or claw feet or talon feet or whatever kind of, yeah, one of those. Yep, whatever the biggest one. Sure, that's fine. Thank you. It can be a small one too, but beautiful. Thank you. So people at home, you have a ribbon tool, this double-sided carving tool. The way that I'm going to add these feet that's different than what you've done before, a lot of times I see this kind of foot and I'm done. I don't want to see that kind of foot where it's just stuck on the bottom like that. So we're going to add a little bit of difference to it by cutting a little notch in our feet. Again, Pac-Man. Everything comes back to Pac-Man in my class, apparently. So there's a little notch cut in there. And what I'm going to do to attach these in a stronger and more secure way is I'm going to score and slip Pac-Man's mouth. I'm going to score and slip where I attach it. And that little Pac-Man mouth is going to set both onto the side and the top of the bottom of my pot. So it's just a more secure way of using a pebble. And it makes for a more secure foot than if you just put the pebbles right on the bottom. So it's kind of a different way of thinking about using pebbled feet. And then if you wanted to sculpt these into a tentacle or a cat's paw or a lizard's foot, I don't know what you would call a lizard's foot. A foot, probably. So then you could sculpt these things into actual creature feet if you wanted to. Or You could just leave it like that. And it just gives you that little bit of lift. Okay, it doesn't sit entirely level. I'm going to have to fix that. There we go. Remember, your phone has a level function on it. So if you set your phone on there, or I have literal level tools you can put on there too, to test and see if it's actually sitting level on its feet. So that's another way to do the foot. If you're doing, did anybody make a pot that's wider at the bottom and narrower at the top? You did? Okay, so, so I'll just talk to you about how to do the undercut foot. People at home, if any of you did, the kind of pot where your pot is wider at the bottom and narrower at the top. Later, thank you, just right in front of me. You can take your wood knife and you can scrape and carve and make it come in. You can add a coil down there and then scrape and carve that coil so your pot comes in. Just gives it that little bit of lift. All right, so, and if you're a wheeler, obviously you're trimming on the wheel, which I'll talk about just to wheelers. Now, normally, I would have you make your handle today instead of the creature, but there's a reason that I want you to put off doing your handle till tomorrow, so don't do your handle today, work on your creature. And the creature is going to be sculpted, scored, slipped, and melded, all the pieces created nice and securely, just like you did with your finial for your last project. Except, obviously, as Emma pointed out, we have to know that it fits inside your cup. So that's where hanging onto your template, or if you put your template back, grabbing your template again, will help. Because as you're sculpting that creature, I'm pretty quick at sculpting bunnies. So just for that reason, I'm going to make a bunny. You can make whatever creature suits you or suits the person who you're going to give this to. Maybe you have a big brother that's going to Madison next year, and so you want to sculpt a badger inside there. Or maybe you think it would be really funny if you made something scary inside there. So whoever uses the cup will get a shock when they're done drinking their beverage. So it's up to you, whatever kind of creature you want. You can even do parts of a creature. Like if you want to just do the tentacles of an octopus, that would be okay. If you want to do like the kid from my first hour and do starfish and do like a few smaller animals, that's okay. It's really kind of up to you. If you don't know what to do, or if you don't know how to go about making the thing you want to do, I would be happy to try and help. All right, this bunny is rough. All right. It does. The ears aren't long enough for a bunny, are they? Sad. All right, hang on. All is not lost. Bunny. Here. Okay, it's getting there. It's getting there. So if I was going to make a bunny, if I put it in and I used my template, oh, sad, stop. Don't fall over. You're not dead. So this is too tight. Plus, the bunny is just looking at the wall of the cup, right? And I want bunny looking at me. So I could angle the head way up. Let me move this so people at home can see. I could angle the head way up. I could make it like that. And if I test it in my template, now it looks like it would fit and it's looking up at me. Once I give it eyes, it will be looking up at me. Or the other thing I could do, I could make it look like it's trying to climb out of a cage with its little paws up. Even though it's not going to be attached yet, that would actually be kind of sad if I made it look like the bunny was in a cage. That's okay. This bunny enjoys captivity. He's a soft bunny. So now you guys aren't going to be able to see this because it's enclosed. But now I've sculpted the bunny so it's looking up like that. Okay. And for your photo today, if you get this far, this is a bad bunny, right? Oh, like the singer, Bad Bunny. So I would certainly work more on this. You guys will have to make much better looking animals than this, and you don't all have to do it today. But for your photo, when you do eventually have your creature done, I will want to see a picture of it in the cup, so I have proof that it fits. So it doesn't have to be permanently attached yet. You can, after you take your photo, you can remove it, wrap it up in a separate bag, wrap your cup in a separate bag, because everything needs to stay leather hard for tomorrow. But at some point, once the animal is built, I do want to see it in the cup. And that's going to be one of your daily photos, either today or probably tomorrow. So your goals for today, they are listed up on the screen. Refine the form first. That's most important. Then create your foot. Then if there's time, sculpt your creature. And then if you can get to the point where you have the creature inside and snap your picture, great. If not, snap a picture of whatever you did. Questions for the people who are here in person? Okay, great. You guys get to work. People who are on the wheel, I'll be with you in 2 minutes. People at home, stay on the line.
Could I attempt to make a mug on the wheel?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you want to start with maybe about an orange-sized amount of clay.
Okay.
Yes, I gotta write you pass, hang on. This is going to be fast and illegible. 12, 20. There you go. I should be a doctor with that signature, right? All right. Hi. Okay, I can stop recording.